SMQBs episode 151, just like your rum floater. 151 for us, guys. It's been we took a week off. We were traveling and generally recovering from the Super Bowl. But so let's get into it. Before we talk Super Bowl, Rooster, who are you sitting down with and having a drink with at the bar this week?
I am going to have a bar at my favorite Irish pub in Manhattan with one Max Snell. And I'm going to convince him that his career will take off, his marketing ability will take off if he can just get on the Yankees and help win the World Series with a pitching staff that would include Garrett Cole, Marcus Stroman, Carlos Rodon, and Hector Cortez in the starting lineup with him. It would be the murderer's row of pitchers.
Other than Mac, you saying Max Snell?
I said Blake Snell, didn't I?
Definitely.
I thought I said Blake Snell, but I might not have.
We knew what you meant.
All right.
Might have been
Blake
talking about
Snell.
a boxer from 100 years ago.
Yeah. All right. Milk, who do you got?
I mean, it's baseball season, so I'm right there with Rooster. I'm going with Kevin Cash, manager of the Rays.
Ooh.
And I'd like to hear his plan, not to win the World Series. I don't care as much about that. Just how are we going to make Yankees fans' lives miserable again this season?
So it sounds like you have given up on winning a World Series and are now directing.
Lose our franchise player, so
they can't get past the Orioles.
And so now you're
stop worrying about the Yankees.
You can't get past the Rangers.
Can't get past anybody.
The Rangers are the ones that knock you out every year.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll beat the Yankees up this year. Just watch.
House.
I'm gonna bring to the bar Adrian Newey. You know who that is?
No.
This is the guy that builds rocket ships for Red Bull. He's the chief technology officer of Red Bull Racing. And if you haven't seen the science behind what he's put on this year's car, if you thought winning by 20 seconds on average last year by Max was something, wait till you see this year. It's ridiculous with this guy. I've been reading about this guy. It's an unfair advantage. Adrian Newey. I'd like to get drunk with that guy.
Hope.
Well, I'm going to call an audible because that kind of reminds me of who I'd really like to talk to right now is Christian Horner of Red Bull.
Oh.
I'd like to.
You're gonna have to have his lawyer with you.
Well, that'd be fine. It'd be lawyer-client privilege, but I'd like to know the fuck happened, what's going on, and are we going to lose Christian as our principal of Red Bull for the upcoming year?
You could ask him, isn't ginger spicy enough anymore?
Yeah.
Could ask him that too.
He's still employed, right?
Currently.
Yes.
Under review.
Yeah. Under review. Okay.
Under review. All right. Well, I'm a little surprised nobody thought to invite her, but I'm bringing Sabrina Ionescu to have a drink to congratulate her on one hell of a competition. And I just have some questions to ask her about one Kenny Smith, who we will revisit and talk about later in this pod. That's really why I want to have her on.
You should do that.
So,
I'd
all
like
right,
to
guys.
ask her if she paid money for that hairdo.
Oh, ouch. All right, let's get into it. We got to talk a little Super Bowl. It's obviously been over a week now. So Hal, talk to us about the Super Bowl and a little NFL stuff.
Yeah, so we're going to start this week with a mailbag entry submitted by longtime consistent listener Rob Jenner, who has a few things still to say about the Super Bowl. Like the rest of us, we're all gushing about, like, can anybody win a Super Bowl while Patrick Mahomes is peaking? He's 28 years old and just got his third Super Bowl. But this was an interesting stat. We think about the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. At 28 years old, Patrick Mahomes has already won 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, and 2 NFL MVPs. to compare that with dominant athletes that have dominated their sports, compare that to Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's dominance was that at that same age of 28, he had won 4 Stanley Cups, 2 Conn Smythe trophies, the playoff MVP, and nine Hart trophies, the NHL MVP by age 28. So let me start with this question to all of you guys. Are we witnessing someone in Patrick Mahomes who will end up being on the Rushmore of professional sports?
Wow, all professional sports.
All professional
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah. Is Mahomes that great?
So you're talking Tiger,
Jordan.
LeBron.
All of them.
No, we're not talking LeBron.
Not talking LeBron.
We're not talking about
not
LeBron.
Nice
LeBron,
try.
what?
Nice try, though, Basie.
Nice try how you slipped that in.
You meant Tom Brady. I get it.
You know, like I shared with you guys this is just since you brought up Brady, okay? Since 2001, there have been 125 drives in the NFL postseason where it was at least the fourth quarter. There was under a minute left to play, and the team on offense trailed by 7 points or fewer at the start. So it's coming down to the end. You're down by 7 or fewer points. You can tie or win the game. That's your standard clutch moment for a football team, do or die drive in the postseason. Out of those 125 drives, only 40% of them saw the team on offense pull off the magic trick and get the points they needed. Tom Brady, he went 5 for 11, 46%. Drew Brees, pretty good. He went 3 for 6, 50%. Patrick Mahomes is 7 for 7, perfect in a last-minute drive in the playoffs, down 7 or fewer.
What about
Is
Elway? Do you
Mahomes-
have Elway's stats on that?
I don't have Elway, but it's definitely fewer than perfect.
For sure.
It's,
Yeah, I
it's
think-
a stunning.
look, I think it's
yes.
unfair to compare Mahomes to Gretzky and others in other sports. I mean, Wayne Gretzky is called the great one for a reason. He's not called one of the greatest. He's the great one. I mean, no one's ever going to get those kind of numbers in under that many MVPs under the age of 30. But Mahomes is doing what he has to do, to become a great one. You can tell he's going to become a great one already. And
He already is.
juxtapose that with the performance of the Niners in that game. You can't win a Super Bowl unless your great players play great, at least when necessary. And who are the supposedly great players on the Niners? Deebo, where was he? Didn't see him in that game. Trent Williams, costly penalty, didn't seem to be doing a great job. Christian McCaffrey fumbles on the opening drive. They're great players, just didn't step up. Mahomes did, and you knew he would. I think that's what sets him apart. He is in Tom Brady category. I would take him over Peyton Manning right now, any day. So in football, he's great. I think he is great. Does he ever get to the Wayne Gretzky status or Michael Jordan? Time will tell.
He's on track, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
he's just on
He's track. Let's see what the next 10 years yields.
Yeah.
Well,
He's 28 years old.
one of the biggest problems for him, though, is he's chasing a guy who's got 7 Super Bowl titles, and as long as Brady has 7, that's going to be the benchmark for quarterbacks. We could talk about the physical skill set and everything that Mahomes brings to the table. I mean, his instincts are unbelievable on the field. But if he ends up with 5 Super Bowls, and which would be unbelievable, and Brady still has 7,
okay,
Brady's the GOAT.
Is this Tiger chasing Jack? Jack had 18 majors. Tiger didn't
Great
catch him.
question. It's a great
Right.
question.
Is that how we measure? Is that how we measure greatness?
But Tiger would have beaten him if he hadn't gotten injured.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Hadn't gone-
but that's part of it.
Right.
I mean, that's
Right.
part of it.
Sure.
Jack is the greatest
18.
over Tiger.
If
Tiger
if
has
Mahomes
15.
doesn't face some career-ending or altering injury,
I
he's gonna
but-
beat Brady.
Yeah, but the Chiefs are going to have to continue to put together a team that year after
What did they
year.
have this year? They didn't have shit
Yeah,
this year.
they
This
didn't
was
have
a
anything.
down year.
Right.
That's how
This
you
is
know
basic-
someone's great.
He basically had to hand the ball to the receiver so they could hold on to
But
it.
by the way, who else used to do this all the time? Tom Brady. He didn't have shit.
Yeah.
Like who were his wide receivers? Oh, they brought in Randy Moss one year, whatever.
Yeah, they didn't
but,
win
like,
a Super Bowl.
Edelman.
They had, a
They
guy,
lost
they had
them.
a guy named Rob Gronkowski. Just so,
They
just
did, but
for
they
what's
did
worth.
not win a Super Bowl with Randy Moss. They never had
right.
No,
an A+ wide receiver.
they had Edelman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Edelman.
Okay.
It's
I
slot
think Wes
receivers.
Welker and Edelman and Gronkowski were pretty good. They'll all be in the
Yeah,
Hall of Fame.
Right, right. I said that they didn't have an A+ wide receiver.
Well,
I think those guys are slot receivers and a tight end.
look
Well,
at the,
House, you
the
asked the question,
trajectories.
House. What do you think?
I mean, I think you guys all make excellent points about comparing it to others. I think it's too hard to compare it to the others in the sports. But at 28 years old, I doubted Mahomes this year. I just think that it's crazy to think now in retrospect that the Chiefs were an underdog in the Super Bowl. It's like almost offensive now looking back at it. If the guy has the ball at the end of the game, he's not going to lose. What is the most amazing thing to me about Mahomes is we all have suffered through challenges with our quarterbacks. And one of the things that we always talk about is, will they make the right read? At any point in time, he feels like I feel like Mahomes is like playing computer chess. He's got like 6 guys to throw the ball to, and he always makes the read to the open guy. Now that's assisted greatly by, I mean, the play call. If you haven't seen that breakdown that NFL Films does, this was the same touchdown play that they scored 2 touchdowns on either sides of the end zone against the Eagles in last year's Super Bowl. But the touchdown to Harden to win it in overtime is just an incredible play call. But it's all a computer up in Mahomes' head. He knows them all. There was an original read that was going to be Andy Reid's famous like shovel pass. Andy Reid loves doing that shovel pass. The original play was the shovel pass, and if that got covered over, then the Hardeman play. Mahomes has got it all up there. I think he's going to beat Brady. And by the way, one of the things that sets people like Bradshaw and Montana and Mahomes apart, Brady did lose some in the Super Bowl. It's not to say that doesn't make him one of the greatest or the greatest. But if Mahomes goes undefeated, if he goes 5 or 6,
he already lost one.
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl.
Who was that to?
Oh, I don't
Who
know.
was-
Wait, I forgot
To
about that one.
Brady, to Tom
Oh.
Brady, he lost.
Oh, the Bucks?
Oh, I did block that out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about.
Blocked out.
Oh, wow.
What happened in that Super Bowl? I can't
Wow.
stand Brady. I can't stand Brady. What happened in that Super Bowl?
It was a
Mahomes
blowout.
was
Absolute
was Mahomes hurt?
blowout.
Was Mahomes hurt in that?
Didn't he play on a bum ankle?
Well,
He
Yeah.
didn't have an offensive line.
no,
I'll
he
tell you
beat
that.
Philly with a bum
He
ankle.
beat Philly with a bum ankle.
Okay, let's
You
move
walked,
on to
you walked into
basketball.
that.
Yeah,
Let's
you
move on
walked
to
into that
basketball.
one.
Disrespect. Unbelievable.
All right, wait. So listen, let's go back to this then, because I think this was a question from the mailbag too.
Yes.
I'll set it up this way. Is Mahomes the guy that you start your NFL franchise with, or is there somebody else?
Mahomes
Nope.
or Michael Vick?
Yeah, but by the way, the mailbag question was
Michael Vick.
retired, alive, dead, playing, you name it. If you had to, in today's NFL, again, courtesy of Rob Jenner, in today's NFL, that's an important distinction. Who is your number 1 overall pick? It could be anyone from the history of football.
If you had the hindsight to manage Michael Vick's personal life in today's
Wow.
NFL, he would be amazing.
No.
Wow.
No way.
Interesting.
Sure, he would.
I would say
I'd still
it's
take
hard to-
Mahomes over him, though.
You would go always. The correct answer is Mahomes. If I had to pick a player who is no longer playing, I would go Peyton Manning to build a team around. He was
In
just-
today's NFL,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's
I can
pass
run
happy.
faster. I can run faster backwards right now at
It's
age
past happy.
Oh, you guys are crazy.
I'm agreeing with Milk, not on Manning, but I still think it's a brilliant quarterback that knows how to run an offense. I'm going with Joe Montana. Still,
Today's NFL.
today's NFL, that's my guy. That's who I'm picking.
And you guys
Pope?
think Manning is a bad call? Jeez.
Pope?
Oops, going Roger Staubach.
I've
Do
seen
it.
no,
Do it.
I've
Troy Aikman.
no. It's Mahomes. He makes other players do things they otherwise wouldn't be doing.
About Fran
Well,
Tarkenton.
I'm going to say Mahomes.
Fran
I'm going to say
Tarkenton, yes.
Mahomes too, but I think it's there are a couple other names that you got to think of, and Brady's one of them, and so are guys like Jim Brown and Barry Sanders, because Jim Brown was just a monster and a attitude setter.
I would like to see like Bosa try to bring down Jim Brown. He'd like get run over.
Right, and Barry Sanders was Barry. I mean, so I don't know. I think you got.
But you don't build a team around a running back. That's the difference.
That's the problem.
Who was that?
Probably
it would
not.
be like Bo Jackson running over Brian Bosworth.
Yeah, yeah,
It's totally
yeah. That's
happened.
right. So,
Look,
all right.
I do not want to leave the Super Bowl until we have a discussion about Shanahan's decision to take the ball first.
God.
Oh boy.
Go.
God.
You know,
Discussed to death, Pope. Come on.
It hadn't been discussed by us, period. All right.
This is
we
a
know what you're
nothing
saying, just say it.
burger.
Go ahead
It
and
is
say
a
it.
nothing burger, but
It
say
is
it.
not a nothing burger. You guys have defended Shanahan. I don't fucking understand why. Both teams got what they wanted, which was Shanahan got the ball and Andy Reid got to defer. There's no way you're going to ever convince me that they should have given the ball to Mahomes having 4 downs, knowing exactly what he needed to do to kill him. And they gave him the opportunity, and he did exactly what they let him do. Period. End of story.
What happens if Pacheco fumbles on the first play? Game's over, right? With a field goal?
Yes.
Well, yeah, if you turn the ball over, yeah, but
Yeah, I mean,
you
anything
assume-
could happen.
you
They had
assume
done that.
you assume that you just gave Mahomes the ball, the last chance to win, which is exactly what you're not supposed to do.
But the reality on the field, Pope, was that the Niners defense was gassed. They needed a breather. You have to take that into account.
Are you saying that had the Chiefs won the coin flip, Andy Reid was going to defer? So they got the ball last?
100%. Yes.
I'm not so sure
I think
about that.
they have
how
said
much
that.
do you want to bet?
I think they have said that.
They absolutely have said that. In fact, it's on NFL films.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you know, they said something opposite.
No, they
If-
didn't.
If
You cannot. No.
Hold on a second. Here's why that argument does not make sense. If you know Mahomes is going to score a touchdown every single time, why not? If you win the coin flip, Mahomes is obviously going to score a touchdown. Okay, and if San Francisco comes back and scores another touchdown, don't worry, Mahomes is going to score a touchdown. It doesn't make sense. The logic, if the idea is that Mahomes will always score a touchdown with the ball in his hands, it does not make sense.
No, the logic is that you give the ball to Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City's logic, and he knows exactly what he needs to do to kill you. Does he need a field goal to tie? You're in a tough spot. Yeah, he kicked field goal. But you have 4 downs to decide what to do. You have him with the ball for 4 downs.
You've got you have arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL, and you need them to make one stop. One stop. I don't think it's that crazy to expect that. They went down, got points, and they needed their defense to get one stop to win the Super Bowl.
That's true.
And they did.
The reason,
Why do
in
you-
my
why do you
opinion, the
give
reason they
Mahomes
lost
4 downs. Why do you give him 4 downs? Just
You
answer the
guys all
question.
you guys all said the same thing about Brady when he played the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Don't give Brady the ball back with any time left. It's like Milk said. In the end, Brady fumbled the ball. They never got, if you make a turnover, if something happens, if the defense makes a play, you lose. You lose. It's not a crazy idea. San Francisco put points up. They put points up, and anything can happen. Anything.
Yeah, they lose.
The Chiefs would have kicked a field goal, right? They wouldn't have gone for it on 4th down if they were in the 49ers
Depending on,
territory.
yeah, I mean, but they got that opportunity to decide.
That's
Yeah.
Pope's point, is if they went first, it's really 3 downs, because
Yeah, you're going
if
to
it's
punt.
4th and more than 1, they're going to either kick a field goal or
But
punt.
now you've
Or-
put the advantage
or
in the
fourth-
49ers, right?
Or 4th
Now
and
that they-
11 in your own on 4th and 11, let's say from your own 30, what are you going to do? You have the ball first. You're going to punt. On 4th and 11, you're down by 3. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to go for it because you know you need it. That's what I'm saying. You gave him 4 downs to get a touchdown to beat you, and that's what he did. And I you guys can disagree. I think that was a horrible call, and I think that's what history will show.
I think I don't disagree with you. I think it's a legitimate point. I just think it's been discussed ad nauseum.
Well,
But it's not why they lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think Chris Jones gets a ton of the praise and the reason for the Chiefs winning, because every time Purdy tried to pass the ball over the middle, he had Chris Jones's hand about to smack him on the throwing arm. I mean,
Well, to your point, Rooster, I mean, if you really want to put blame in this case, in this game, San Francisco let Chris Jones just through. They just totally missed a block on that 3rd down play at the goal line. That
Right.
He was wide open. That was a touchdown to be had
Yeah.
with a block on Chris Jones. That's a touchdown. And now you're up 7 points. One block was what made the difference. I'd rather blame whoever was responsible for that block than Kyle Shanahan. That's what history will talk about, is that missed block on Chris Jones.
And speaking about your great players stepping up, where the hell was George Kittle?
Who?
I mean,
Sucks.
George Kittle,
Who?
Where
CMC,
well, he was
Deebo,
taunting the Kansas City guy who got the fumble recovery. You've seen that on
Trent
the NFL.
Williams. Where were these guys? These are
Where
4
was
highly paid
George-
superstars. Where were
Kittle?
they?
Kittle was the guy who I said I thought would have a big game. I thought he was
Yeah.
going to show up because all eyes were on Travis Kelce. I thought Kittle would want to remind people that he's not so bad himself, and he didn't do shit.
He was more interested in reminding people what a goofball he is.
I
when he's
kept
mic'd
waiting
up.
for him to show up on third down, 3rd and 5 or more. It was obvious fucking blitz every single time they blitzed Purdy, and I kept waiting for Kittle to show up in that instance. When are you going to hit him over the middle, whatever? And it's like he couldn't complete a pass on 3rd down. It was
All
terrible.
right, we got to move on. We got
All
a
right.
lot to cover.
Putting
Super
a
Bowl's in
bow
the
on the
rearview mirror.
NFL. What an amazing Super Bowl, though.
Sure
It
was.
It
sure
was an amazing
was.
Super Bowl,
Yep.
for sure.
And we got through that whole segment without mentioning one. Now I won't say her name. I won't do it.
No,
All right, let's get to the NBA. Rooster, what are we looking for? Where are we in the season?
We're reevaluating everything we thought we knew about the 2 conferences. We, early on this year, we thought the East was the beast. The top 4, 5, 6 teams would crush most of the West. Now the East is in disarray, with the exception of the Celtics and Cleveland. The next 3 best teams are injured, and one of them has made a horrific coaching decision. And who knows what's happening there? Boston has got the best record in basketball and just looks unstoppable. But Cleveland has won 9 of their last 10 games, and everybody's now healthy. Cleveland would be the 2nd seed if the season ended today, and I'm not sure that's going to change given what's going on in Milwaukee with under Doc. I mean, they're 3-7 in the last 10 games. The Knicks have 4 of their 5 starters injured. They were playing lights out before that, and I would have put them as a strong 3 seed, possibly 4. But I don't know. If they don't get healthy soon, they could be dipping down into Orlando Magic territory by the end of the year in terms of the record. Now, if they get healthy, they're still going to be really good in the playoffs because they're a good team this year. Same thing with the Sixers. I mean, House can speak to this too, but when you have Embiid injured, that team, it just is a shell of itself. And then you've got little nagging injuries to DeAnthony Melton and Tobias Harris and Batum. I mean, they and the Knicks are like the walking wounded. The question is, do they bring Embiid back? Because they're going to get in. I don't see them falling out of the top 10. They're not going to get down to Brooklyn category territory, even without Embiid. So the question is, do you bring Embiid back for the playoffs when you're, if you're an 8, 9, 10 seed? What do you think, House?
Really hard decision. I mean, it's such an investment in your team and your future. I don't know enough about the likelihood of that injury recurring. If there's any chance, I think you shut him down, knowing that you're in a play-in game most likely, and then when you win the play-in game, you're probably going to have to face the Celtics. I just think the Sixers have done a nice job to add something that they had desperately needed all along. I think one of the best moves right at the deadline was getting Buddy Hield. He's shooting 50% already from 3-point. But if Embiid's risk is very low to no risk, I say play him, because they're a great team. If there was ever any question about who's the most valuable player to their team, I think we got that answer. They are a shell of themselves. It'll be interesting that the walking wounded teams, the Sixers play the Knicks on Friday, I think in both their first games post the All-Star break. But I think it's all academic. I don't see anybody beating Boston East. They're just, no one's talking about it. I don't know why, but Boston is dominating the East.
Yeah.
Dominating.
They're 43-12. Best
House,
record
were
in
those trades
NBA.
were those trades made before the injury?
Those trades were made after the injury. Those
They
trades were
were.
made after the injury. Yeah. Yeah.
I am really curious to see what happens with the Bucks, because that you just knew it was just a given that when they got Dame, they were going to become more of an offensive threat but weaker on defense. He just doesn't play defense. Now Middleton's hurt. Their other big defender now plays for the Celtics. Brook Lopez is not getting any younger. I don't know that the Bucks are as good as we thought they were in the beginning of the year. I think they're a 4 seed maybe by the end of the year.
So so things are still weird though, right, Rooster? Because are we going to get to this point of the season where the NBA has all these buyouts and guys, dictate where they want to go? I mean, I've said it a long time. By the time you get to the playoffs, these teams look nothing like they did at the start of the season. There's just so much movement. It didn't seem like a lot happened at the trade deadline, but then you do get this second round of but then you get this second round of buyouts, contract buyouts where guys become free agents and sign where they want to. So, are these teams, at what point do we know these teams are set? And then you get into the playoffs the whole second season.
Who's a big potential in-season free agent? I mean, LeBron's already said he's not going anywhere, but I never believe him when he says that.
I don't know. Well,
I mean, who's a potential buyout?
I don't think it's a huge one, but if you want a little playoff savvy, the Kyle Lowry move was a nice move the Sixers made. Mm-hmm. Once you get to the playoffs, the guy knows how to just play at that point in time. He's long in the tooth, but he's a solid playoff player.
Yeah.
Now sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rooster.
I was going to say, in contrast, the West is suddenly loaded with teams on the rise. You got the Timberwolves at 39-16. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. The Clippers are 7-3 in their last 10 games, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are right in between them as the second seed if we ended right now. Denver's down at the 4th seed, and they're still a strong team, but they're kind of suffering from the same thing that the Sixers and the Knicks are. They've got some injuries to Murray and to Caldwell Pope. So they'll get healthy, and I predict by the end of the year, Denver and maybe the Clippers are on top of the West. I just don't know how you go too far with Mike Conley as your point guard these days for the Timberwolves. I mean, I understand that Edwards is now a superstar, and Karl Anthony Towns has figured out how to play with Gobert. But they sometimes get bogged down getting the ball down the court.
So that's the team that I'm interested in, because when they when they picked up Gobert last year, I said, very interesting to see, the size that they were bringing in. Are we going away from these teams that just shoot 3-pointers? Is this going to be a new thing? Is it going to work? And just have 2 big men all the time? Well, they're actually, I think, either first or second in 3-point shooting in the NBA right now. Yep. So I guess they got 2 big guys and are still draining 3-pointers along the way. So, I mean, they're shooting too. It's an interesting roster. I mean, and you're right. It took a year for those guys to learn to play together, maybe a year and a half. But they look like a pretty good team right now. They're playing well.
1 through 10 in the West, you really wouldn't want to run into any one of these teams. Even the Warriors. The Warriors could get hot.
And without going homer here, the Mavericks, they're on a 6-game winning streak, and they appear to have gained significantly in the trade deadline with Daniel Gafford as center, and they're playing a little bit different ball right now.
What's wrong with Lively? Is he hurt?
He's starting to play again. He had an ankle and then I think a nose deal. But you're gonna see, pretty soon whether this lineup is going to make a difference. The Mavericks have been kind of treading most of the year, but with Luka and Kyrie finally healthy, do they make a run towards the top 4 seeds in the West? It'll be interesting to see.
I think the Mavs could make that run. The Mavs and the Nuggets wouldn't surprise me. If at the end of the day, the Clippers make it, that would gut me to see Harden do that. The fact that he would finally figure it out. But PG3 and Kawhi are just, they're that good. Together with Harden, there's no reason you wouldn't expect them. But I can't see OKC or Minnesota making it out of the West. Maybe one of them ends up sneaking into the West Finals, but I still think I think it's Nuggets. I do think the Mavs have put together what they need to make a deep run, and unfortunately the Clippers.
Yeah, I think Nuggets, Clippers, and then it's up in the air who's 3 and 4 after that.
Can we just talk for a minute about the All-Star game?
Ugh. I didn't even see it.
I purposely didn't even watch it.
Nope.
I mean,
I don't understand what they're doing.
It's offensive to the game of basketball at this point. I mean, these players, we could probably give them a punch, but we have plenty of other people lined up for that this week. But they're not trying. It's like a wannabe Harlem Globetrotters versus the Washington Generals situation at this point, and they're not playing. They're not trying. It's a joke, and it's embarrassing for the NBA. And if I was a guy like Jordan or Iverson,
Larry Bird came out and scolded him yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, these guys who actually wanted to win, Magic, cared about it and competed, had fun, but competed. This is silliness at this point.
Is this different than what happened to the Pro Bowl? I mean, isn't this exactly what happened there? You just don't care anymore. They're not incentivized.
Yeah, but it wasn't as concerned about an injury.
Right? Yeah,
Pro Bowl, nobody wanted to get injured.
Because, those guys.
But the quarterbacks, the receivers, and the cornerbacks used to play hard in the Pro Bowl. Now they don't even do that.
Well, our good friend Jerry Bembry from Anscape had posted something today saying basically he didn't even watch the game. It's so bad that unfortunately it's starting to permeate the game at the college and high school level, where he says he sees kids all the time play this matador defense. Like, it's not good that the NBA is putting on this product and saying, look at this playground fun stuff. This is the way basketball should be played. Because that will make its way into the game. Like, let's see if we're so much better than another team, if we're an AAU ball, let's just try out this play, see if we can pull it off. It's so bad for the game.
Yeah.
Are they trying to avoid injuries? Is that what's happening here?
No. They're just mailing it in.
What the hell is it? They're all good.
It's a show. It's a show.
They don't want to play hard.
It's an exhibition.
They don't want to play hard.
I think they should just put on a rookie all-star game, and those guys would play hard. We'd watch it.
Hey, House, your kids are a pretty good metric on this. Did they watch the all-star game?
Nope. They only want to watch 3-point shooting skills competition and dunk contest. And even that stunk this year.
So there you go.
They don't want to watch the game.
The best moment of the whole weekend was Sabrina and Steph.
Yeah.
That was the most exciting, interesting thing of the whole weekend, I think.
I mean, 3-point shooting and dunk contest was, an add-on to the All-Star game, like back in the 80s to, kind of get more pizzazz to it. But the All-Star game, like Jordan and Magic, I mean, Isaiah, they wanted to win. There was pride on the line.
Yeah.
I can remember Bill Lambier still taking people out in the All-Star game, and people wanted to throw a punch at him.
Now, I hated when baseball did that thing where the All-Star game winner was who was the host for the World Series. And I think that's a terrible, terrible thing that punishes a good team. But you could put an end to this silliness by saying the conference that wins the All-Star game hosts the finals. I mean, that you would have a much more competitive contest.
Did they make any money? Do they get paid to play in that game? Like
Probably
the Pro Bowl?
incentives for making it.
Contract, probably.
Yeah, I think they have contract incentives for being named.
I don't know if the NBA actually,
but I don't think the winner wins money. I mean, they do.
I think they get I think it's like $100,000 to the team that wins,
like per person.
Yeah, but I mean, these guys don't give a shit about that.
They don't even pay for fuel to get there.
That's right on their PJs. All right, so the NBA sucks.
Talk about real hoops.
Let's get into it where I don't know. I mean, NBA light at this point with the nil money and everything. It's time. We're getting close to watching the bubble here in the NCAA.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark's making like $900,000 a year now.
Yeah.
Wow.
March Madness right around the corner. We had our first, I think maybe they did it last year. I can't remember, House. This is fairly new though, where they released the seeds, the top 16 seeds.
I don't remember seeing it before. They actually released it.
This is brand new. I mean, they're trying to follow what College Football Playoff did, CFP, by having, some suspense on who the top seeds are. And I'm not sure, that was a selection committee that did this. This is CBS. I'm not sure this is the NCAA selection committee. This just CBS, as far as I know. Committee doesn't get together and do these seeds this early.
No, not till after the.
But anyway, what we have here is the release of the first 16 seeds, at least according to the CBS pollsters. First seed was Purdue, who promptly turned around and shit the bed at Ohio State against an interim coach on primetime Sunday afternoon. Big Ten basketball. Milk, that's another thing I was going to bring up. So this year, here's a stat for you. I don't know the exact percentage, but I do know that this year, the top 10 teams on the road, under 500. First time ever.
Wow.
Under 500.
Wait, what? Say that again?
Top 10 teams on the road, under 500.
Yeah, that's bananas.
That is bananas. And I think it shows you there is a lot of parity this year, and it's going to be a crazy final, March Madness once again. UConn, who I'm not sure why they're not the number one overall seed, is
they are today.
They are certainly they are today. But their body of work, I mean, they smashed Carolina, who's the number 5 seed. Houston, which just tore Texas apart last week, is the third seed, in Arizona, led by Carolina ex Caleb Love and company, is the 4th seed. Then you have Carolina 5. You got Tennessee, Rick Barnes' team, at 6. Marquette, which got destroyed by UConn, at 7. So I'm not sure they would still be there. Then you got KU at 8. They've been unimpressive this year, kind of up and down. Alabama at 9. They've had a couple good wins. Baylor at 10. Iowa State 11. Duke at 12. Auburn 13. San Diego State 14. Illinois 15. And Wisconsin at 16. Those are your top 16 teams. But what we always focus on, though, is the bubble watch. How many teams are on the bubble, potentially going to get in? Each conference trying to get as many as possible. A little graphic that House was nice to provide for my section today. So right now, if you just take the bubble teams and you add in the locks, the conferences, you got 10 teams in the Big 12, 9 in the SEC, 7 in the Big East, 6 in the Big 10, 6 in the ACC, and 3 in the Pac-12. And then you have a lot of conferences that have teams that are not even locks or should be ins yet. So at least according to that source, the Big 12 and the SEC are the top 2 conferences. Do you all agree with that?
Big 12 and the SEC?
Yep.
Well, I don't
The
know
big,
about that.
The Big East is the greatest conference in basketball year after year,
Right.
period.
particularly this
Well,
year.
Well, that's a little harsh.
I mean, you got to throw the SEC in there because they've got just from top to bottom. There's so many.
Right.
I mean, look how many are in the top 25. From
Right. See, I think
by the way, Tennessee can absolutely win the national championship.
you
absolutely.
think so? See, that goes to my question, which I think is a more interesting question. Yeah, I'm looking at this list of the AP top 25, the coaches poll top 25. And typically by this time of the year, you just can look at the list and say to yourself, well, there's a Kansas, there's a Kentucky, there's a Duke, there's a UNC. Any one of those teams could get hot and take the championship. Right now, I'm struggling to see any one of those teams taking it away from UConn. But maybe you're saying Tennessee and maybe Houston. It's not going to be Purdue. I'll tell you that right now.
No, Purdue goes out the first weekend, right?
Yeah,
UConn
first or
is
second
hands
round.
down, right? Like hands down, number one. But
Right
I
now,
mean, right now, but
Right now,
I mean,
yeah.
I think, look, any of these top 10 teams, they're, I mean, Kansas, I don't know, but
Well, that's my
I like
question
that-
because you and
Iowa
Pub
State's a good
follow
team.
college ball more than I do.
Kansas absolutely has the horses to make a run. No question. They're just not
But
playing
they
well
won't.
right now.
They won't. It's Kansas. They
I
always
don't know
disappoint.
about that. You can't say they always disappoint. How many times has Bill Self gotten his team into the Final Four?
Maybe
Come
that's
on.
what I'm gambling on.
2 years
I don't-
ago, they beat Carolina for the national championship.
I mean,
I
I
know,
kept hearing all the commentators blow smoke up Auburn's ass this weekend, and then Kentucky came in and kicked them at home. I don't think
I mean,
Auburn's
that's the one.
going
That's
very
the one
far.
knock on the SEC is that all of these teams they're beating each other. Like,
Right.
Kentucky's having a horrible year at home.
Yet they're a good, scary team. I don't want to play them in March.
I think one of the things that UConn benefited from last year was they got their mojo during their tournament and they played fearlessly and they didn't have a bullseye on their back.
Right.
They are going to come in this tournament with a bullseye on them. And I think that's, if UConn somehow repeats, that would be just beyond incredible, because to do that with a bullseye on your back and not the kind of momentum that a UConn team normally puts together, that's who I want to like. We won't do this today, but as we get close to the March Madness, we'll figure out like who's that 4 through 6 seed, likely to be a 4 through 6 seed that's very scary that nobody wants to play. That could find that momentum.
You're right about that. They
Yeah.
had some bad losses last year early. They kept getting better, and they were getting better right up until the March Madness, and they were getting better game to game during March Madness. That's not going to happen this year.
Can't. They're already there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of basketball to be played still, and these teams do come together. They are kids, and so you never know what's going to shake out.
Right.
I mean, how many more number one ranked teams will we see before the season ends? Is UConn going to win out and stay number one, or are we going to have 3 more number ones before we get into March?
Well, even if UConn lost, I still think they would be ahead. I mean, the only team that could potentially, in my mind, get them is Houston. I don't see Purdue going back to 1 anytime soon.
UConn stays there because I think they passed the test that they needed to pass, which was beating Marquette. So now what they've got left is Big East tourney, but I think they're going to finish 1 in the country.
Beat Marquette, they crushed them.
Yeah,
Crushed Marquette. Yeah,
but that's the number 4 team.
Houston has a massive game tonight against Iowa State too.
Oh, it sounds like a better's angle here coming.
Love that bet.
I think Klingen's game is already better than Chet Holm. His post game is already better than Chet Holmgren's is in the NBA. He doesn't have much of an outside game. The weakness that UConn has is there are a couple of guys who aren't great defenders. Like Cam Spencer cannot guard a fast guard.
Yeah,
It's a
Houston's
bit-
got Iowa State, Baylor, and Kansas left.
Yeah, that's tough.
Huge.
That's a hellish end of the season. By the way, big 10 days here for two perennial March Madness teams. Villanova, as House knows, they have work to do, and Gonzaga. I mean,
Oh
how
yeah.
many Gonzaga has to, they probably have to beat St. Mary's to get in, which I think is this week or whatever. But I mean, you might see a tournament without them if they don't do.
They
something.
might have to coax Timmy out of retirement.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Anything else on hoops, college hoops?
Nope.
Rooster,
Yeah.
you're going to introduce a new segment here.
So yeah, we had a segment last year where we were debating what are the better Girl Scout cookies. And so just along those wholesome lines, we thought we would do a little bourbon tasting and talk about bourbon. And so I'm going to get us
Thank you, Lee Hoffman, for the
I'm
suggestion.
going to get us kicked off, not kicked out.
What a great segue.
Oh boy, he's been drinking it all day.
Yeah,
You don't think?
I'm going to get us
First thing
kicked
he
off.
said was, "I'll have at the bar."
I'm going to get us kicked off with my very favorite affordable bourbon, which is Buffalo Trace. You can get a bottle of Buffalo Trace for like $30 something, $33 a bottle, and it is a smooth, delicious bourbon with a little hint of caramel. You can drink
There
it.
we go.
You can drink it neat. You can drink it on the rocks, or if you're Pope, you could pour sugar and grape juice and lime juice and everything else in it and claim to be a bourbon
The
guy.
fuck would that be called?
Now, Rooster
Anyway,
is
bottoms up and have me a little sip
Rooster
of my Buffalo
is
Trace.
loyal to the Buffalo Trace, and just by background, we did a blind tasting last year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago. And I think damn near every one of us picked the Buffalo Trace as our favorite.
Yeah, except
It's a good
Pope.
standard.
He picked a rum as his favorite bourbon.
Yeah.
Listen, we have opened the SMQB mailbag. We would love to have our listeners nominate a bourbon for us to taste. And we thank Lee Hoffman for this suggestion that he actually wanted us to combine bourbon and Girl Scout cookies, but we're just gonna do the bourbon. Buffalo Trace is where it's at.
I think
There's-
Buffalo Trace would go really well with the s'mores. Or no, what was our winner last year?
Samoas
The Samoas.
or whatever, the caramel delights.
Or whatever
I think they're
PC
called.
name they're called now.
Caramel Delights.
Ah.
So, all right, that's someone pick one for next week and
Bourbon talk.
keep it up. But yeah, bourbon talk. Time to punch someone. And I'm going to take this one. I've got on my background, you can see Sabrina and Steph with the title. I mentioned earlier that I think the best part of NBA All-Star Weekend was this competition. I don't know if you guys saw how they set this up and everything during the season, but they had Steph Curry was mic'd up one night before the game, and he went over to one of the guys. I don't think it was Clay. I don't remember who it was, and said, "Do you know who's got the record for most three-pointers in college history," or something like that? And whoever it was goes, "I think it's Sabrina," and it was. And Sabrina Ionescu. So Steph said, "I think I got to make this happen. I think I got to show her who's boss." And this had all had to have been planned out ahead of time. Mm. And of course, Sabrina immediately responds to the clip on Twitter and says, "Let's do it." So here we are. We get to NBA All-Star Weekend, and they do. I guess it's just one round, but like your typical 3-point contest. And Steph did beat her. I think he beat her like 29-26. Was that the final score?
I think it was 3. Yeah, 3. He beat her by 3.
Yeah, and but it was close. I mean, he had to hit his money ball. Like I think he drained all of the last five balls, which were all money balls in the corner. And I think that's the way he came out ahead. So it was a really great moment. It was really fun. It was great for women's basketball, which has had, kind of a spotlight on it for Caitlin Clark this last week, and then for Sabrina to do that. Enter Kenny Smith. And Kenny, instead of just letting the moment happen, as lawyers, sometimes the hardest thing to do is know when not to say something at all and just sit and not even stand up. Kenny should have followed that, because instead he gets into this whole thing that she should have shot from the women's line, and she could have won if she was shooting from the women's line. And there's a reason women have a shorter distance, and then when he kind of got Reggie Miller tried to call him out a little bit on it. I think Reggie was trying to get him to shut the fuck up. And he said, "What are we talking about? There's a women's tee in golf too." And it just reeked of misogyny. It was just really unfortunate. And I just don't think he got it. I mean, here she was, by the way, her 26 points were tied game his final round in the actual 3-point contest.
Right.
So it wasn't like, this was a beatdown. I mean, she would have been in the finals, or would have competed in the finals against the best. So it was just a weird comment. And it was really tone deaf, and it ruined a good moment.
In his prime, Kenny Smith would have lost that contest by more than 3 shots to Steph Curry. So I don't know where he gets off even saying that.
Yeah, it was just really strange. So Kenny Smith, you're getting punched this week.
And after the punch hits him on one side of the face, just keep going with your fist over to Jay Williams, who similarly said that Caitlin Clark is not great yet because she hasn't won a championship. I don't know if you heard that. It was on the same day. It was on the same day that Kenny Smith did that Jay Williams on ESPN Game Day for college basketball said that she's not in the same league as Diana Taurasi or Breanna Stewart because she hasn't won a championship yet. I mean, what is wrong with these guys? Seriously.
Yeah, it's just a dumb statement.
It's
not like she's not playing on a championship caliber program like UConn or Tennessee or LSU.
I would say that's a Duke comment.
Well, yeah, it's a comment also by a guy who
like
screwed up all of his. It's a guy who screwed up all his potential to ever be an NBA star, and so now all he has to cling to is his Duke championship. So now he overinflates the value of it.
Exactly.
Right, because he wrecked his motorcycle. Yeah. All right, lots of punches there. How about a lasso?
This is just an amazing story from this past weekend. East Carolina University doesn't normally get the front page of college sports, but what a lot of people don't know is they happen to be a great college baseball team. They have been for the last few years. They've got a great program. I think preseason this year, they were number 11 in the country. ECU has a player on their team named Parker Bird. And in July of 22, Parker Bird was in a boating accident where he fell off the boat and the propeller to the boat damaged both of his legs. And eventually, as a result, he had to lose one of his legs. And he was a college baseball commit to ECU and a very, very talented player. And he, as anyone would come to conclude after something like that, realized that his baseball career is over. But his mom said that that wasn't the case, and together with the community raised a lot of money to get a prosthetic. And to the great credit of East Carolina University, these scholarships are worth quite a bit. ECU didn't pull a scholarship, and everybody said, you can still do this. You can still play college baseball. The equipment with, prosthetics has gotten so good that you can do that. And this past Friday night, February 16th, ECU had a game because it's the start of the college baseball weekend. and ECU was winning pretty handily, and they brought in Parker Bird to the plate. And if you've not yet seen the video of this guy approaching a Division I baseball game with one of those prosthetic legs, and it wasn't covered up. It wasn't like sometimes you see prosthetics and you can barely see it. This was in full view. He walks up to the plate. As it turns out, he actually drew a base on balls. He drew a walk and, ran down to first base after that. And that was it was an incredible moment for that whole team, for that guy, for the kind of the will of the spirit to return from injury, to just believe that you can overcome anything. And if there's a Lasso, Parker Bird definitely, and ECU, it's definitely worthy of a Lasso. That was incredible moment.
Great story. Yeah, it's definitely a Lasso.
That's awesome.
All right, let's have some buzzer beaters and get out of here, guys. Milk, why don't you lead us off with a buzzer beater? You got something?
I guess I have to fucking wish Hideki congratulations on yesterday. I think he was
Fuck that guy.
I think he was 6 back going in. He shot
back.
9 under and honestly hit 2 birdies it was less than a foot. Like they were both like 6 inches. Most ridiculous back-to-back shots I've seen. Congratulations to Hideki. That was ridiculous.
Cost us money, Milk.
And List, I hate you.
Yeah.
Or Luke List. He's listless.
Yes.
Al, you got one?
I'm just excited about this F1 season about to get underway. We're just a couple weeks away from Bahrain. This next week, they're going to be taking the cars out on the track. And I can't wait to see how it all plays out. There's going to be tremendous drama this year. Lame duck Lewis, with Mercedes, and same with Carlos Sainz with Ferrari. There's a lot to see. Does McLaren keep that mojo that they were building towards the end of the year? Do they become like the solid number 2? And just what kind of records is Red Bull going to set this season? We'll probably do an F1 preview, but I cannot wait to hear that those engines get onto the track next week.
Hope.
House got me on mine. I was talking F1. Couldn't say it better.
Sorry, Pope.
No, you all good.
Rooster, how about you?
The resurrection of Kevin Ollie.
Yes.
After getting fired by UConn for what turned out to be false allegations, Kevin Ollie has climbed and scratched his way all the way back and was just named head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm not sure that's a prize.
punishment?
But, it's like the old W.C. Fields joke about a trip to Philadelphia. You ever hear that joke?
So Jock Vaughn was fired. Jock Vaughn was fired today.
Jock Vaughn was fired today, and Kevin Ollie was named his replacement. Was
he on staff? I haven't even followed it.
No, he was up for a head coaching job of the Pistons recently. Let me see.
But I mean, was he on some NBA staff and he got pulled from there?
I think he was on Brooklyn staff.
I don't remember.
Was that firing?
Is he interim or is he permanent?
Interim.
Okay.
I think he's interim.
Yeah. Interim. It just happened today.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll give you, while Rooster's looking that up, I'll give you my buzzer beater. I got just 2 to note. One, the Daytona 500 is going on as we sit here and record. It'll probably be wrapping up just as we go get this out on Spotify and Apple and YouTube and everywhere else. But also this week, Friday, Saturday, Major League Baseball spring training games start. Check them out. Might go up and check out a Nats game this weekend. So go out. Let's play ball. Anyone got anything else? All right, guys. Have a good week. Good show.
Later.
See ya.
Bye, guys.